maybe. Alright, we're in on restream. Let's see who's next. Twitch or YouTube? Twitch or YouTube? Twitch or YouTube? YouTube is seeing a blank screen. Okay, we're in on YouTube. What about you, Twitch? What about Twitch? Restream says we're on Twitch. Twitch agrees. Welcome to Code Hangout number 241. The landing page of the Thinky Dailies. I'm gonna look a little bit on building sort of some of the layout code from scratch, just because I don't currently have permission to like actually work on real code on stream, and also because I feel like maybe building it from scratch will make it a bit easier to do like the best job rather than what seems to work easily with the current code base. Hey Keith, how are you doing? I'm doing all right. Starting the stream late as always. I'm still struggling to get the stream started earlier, but it is what it is. So the landing page I'm referring to is actually the dailies page here, which currently just basically shows either the current puzzle of the day or currently the announcement for the next season. What I want to do... What did I just do? I just... Ooh, nope, nope, nope. I didn't want to open Photopea. I just wanted to... Did I just pull... Where's this? Okay, I somehow managed to send the tab to another screen. I want to do a combination of these two pages, basically. And I kind of started on this last stream a little bit. And I want to basically continue that work. So the idea is, I think we looked at if I look at last week's notes. So last week we looked at the user journey, and we basically kind of, I came up with a sort of basic concept of how I want this to work with primary recommendations, secondary recommendations, and so on and so forth. Plus, you know, optional banners for next puzzle, next season, etc. And a link to an archive where you can see, where you can visit previous puzzles and things like that. So in principle, how I envision it is that we have the main primary recommendation, similar to this one, or how it was. And I might actually, can I look at my local version? If I go to here, is that functional right now? Okay, so we might manipulate that just so we can look at the version without the end of season screen. And then I want to see, okay, what can we do with maybe a certain number of optional secondary suggestions, maybe 2 rows of 4 each, and see what that looks like in a mobile view, or maybe 6 that can go to 2 rows and then 3 rows of 2, you know, has a lot of divisions. So we can have 1 row of 6, 2 rows of 3, and then 3 rows of 2, and then eventually kind of like that, and maybe have it scroll or whatever. Anyway, so that's the sort of thing I want to work with. What I want to do also to get started, and I'm going to open Photopea after all, not from here, from this little button. I want to bring in some static versions of these elements at the top and stuff. I was gonna just screenshot it, but this is actually resizes. So I might actually kind of do a basic layout of that. So let us make a div class equals page, something like that, as our root element. Something like this. And then we can say something like div class equals navbar, right? And then just so it gives me a bit of a good feel of how things should be. So we're gonna do something like dot page outline 10px dashed Genta outline inset is 10px dashed. Why was it black a second ago? That was weird. But we actually want this to represent the full body. So we're gonna do width 100%, like 100%. And it's also a little bit of a practice session for me because I'm not, you know, I used to do a lot of CSS and HTML prior to the new grid and flex stuff. So I think it makes sense for me to review that. Can we... Oops. Can we do this? Something like that. Because I'm suspicious that the body... Yeah, the body isn't actually the full size. We want to do this. We probably also want to do something like... Yeah, we're gonna have to do some annoying things here. If I do HTML, and then I'll say blue. I make this smaller. I wish I could do that automatically. That'd be so nice. If we do something like this, for example, right? I think that we'll see that the red. I make this 2 or 3, like that. So this should be blue. Where's our blue? Okay, if I make this 10 and 10. Okay, where's our HTML? Where's our HTML? Why does our HTML outline not show? Or is it because it's... Where is our HTML outline? That is curious. So if I do this... Do we have single line comments in SCSS, maybe? Ooh, my ear's itching. I just showered and I feel like there's some water in my ear. We cannot do an outline. CSS outline on HTML. On HTML element not working. It's not working on HTML root element not working. The issue is likely that you have no specified outline style. Margins. The outline property is requires a style slot to be visible. Solid red 10. I do this. Not inset, offset. All right. Yeah, my ears itching. Sorry, guys. It's really annoying. What an annoying sensation. Okay. So we have our HTML here. If I insert it a little bit further, do we get a gap? Yeah, I think we get a gap. If I do it 14. Yeah. Okay. So, we get that. We're gonna do body as well here. We'll bring the outline back here. Body, outline, offset -5. Why is the body... Oh, 10%. That's why. Always be careful when you're doing these kind of temporary things. Yeah, so I think the issue is that we have a margin on the HTML, which we don't want. And we want to do box sizing, border box. So there's some sort of basic reset I want to basically do. CSS box sizing. So content box, border box. I think we want border box. Or maybe we want this to just be at the top. Like that. So I wish I could split the CSS into 2 separate files, to be honest. And now we don't have that weird scroll bar either, because everything is 100 by 100. We only get a scroll bar when we actually need it. And the scroll bar here pushes the red inside. Does that mean the page itself isn't scrolling? All right. Single line comments here are gonna be great. So, so we are gonna actually not do this on body. We're gonna do this on page, and we're gonna deal as if page is our root, basically. And we're gonna deal with page as if that's our HTML element. Just, you know, it gives us a little bit of extra control, bit of isolation, and if we need to stick this whole thing into the context of something else, it gives us just direct access. And this is just sort of a core reset to make sure everybody's on the same page, basically. Same page, get it? All right, so now we have a nav bar. So we're gonna do .navbar. And now I'm gonna have to, there's a couple of decisions, because on the side, the nav bar is actually a fixed pixel height with a variable, with a CSS variable. Not currently, but that's where I'd like to move it to. But I'm also gonna see, maybe we don't need that. So if I say height to RAM, and I'll say background RGB, and I'm gonna make it some sort of transparent color, so we can more easily handle where it is and what it does and all this stuff. All right, where is our nav bar? It's misspelled. And if we give it a dashed blue outline of half this, the nice thing about the dashed outline is it shows even if the thing itself isn't very big. I'm gonna currently make it 60 pixels because that's what it's on the site, but ultimately it shouldn't matter. So it automatically pushes things down. So at this point, we don't really need the grid layout yet, the flex layout. But I think we're going to do it anyway. So if I say display flex and then flex direction column, like that. So now these should all be on top of each other. The nav bar, I want to make it look a little bit like this. So we're going to give it some... Actually, maybe we can just copy the styles off of this one. Oh, wait a second. This... So I think the nav bar here sits inside something. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like... This is a... You see, as somebody who's built stuff from scratch, for example, the background shouldn't be origined here, it should be origined here, and then repeat to the left. So it doesn't move horizontally when you do this. So there's a lot of little things like that that I personally would like to improve. And normally I would, because I think what happens here is these items are each individually having their own margin set. Like this text section, for example, the nav bar, right? Like the body is full width, and these are all full width. But what you really want is you want them sitting inside something that's constraining the width in one place, not each individually, right? Let's see how the width is constrained, for example, for the nav bar. Because this nav bar is actually 0 high, which is slightly disappointing. Yeah, so 94 vertical width. Max width 128. I'm gonna move to responsive here just so I can jiggle this more easily. 100. So that's the max, and the width is 94. So it's basically 94%. So it's okay. So the margin shrinks. All right. So let's see what that looks like. I mean, it's not how I would do it, but you know. So if I do 94 vertical width. So obviously then we have the spacing on that side. But padding, position fix, the index top 0. Margin left. So you see, so this is a little, in my opinion, a little slightly bonkers way of doing it. Because we could just... Instead of setting the width, we should just set so if we do this instead, and then we'll just say margin, so 94, so 3 vertical width elements on either side. Wouldn't that get us margin? Oops. Wouldn't that get us a margin on either side, right? Well, not exactly. We'd have to do the nesting, but we kind of do this here. Nav bar, nav, mobile view. What is the mobile? Oh, okay, so it's just a bunch of menu stuff. So we could do this nesting. So what we could do is we could do nav bar, right? And then we can say nav bar. When we do .nav. So the .nav is going to be our visible thing. The nav bar is just the place, right? So we have a .nav bar, and then in here we'll have a .nav, right? And the margin, the height maybe should be here. We'll see. This one, red, green, blue. Yellow is red and green, right? Yeah. So this is the thing with the margins, and here we're gonna go more opaque. So that's, and I'm gonna, because I find this personally offensive, I'm gonna go with the thinky color. And you know what? I'm actually gonna take a quick screenshot, and I'm gonna put that into Photopea, just because it's gonna make my life so much easier to like pull colors from it and stuff. We're just gonna do this, put that in there, because now I can just go click. Get the color. Like I can eyedrop out the color from there, but it's a pain in the butt, right? And then we can go here. We're just gonna do this. For now, we're gonna also do this instead of red. We're gonna do this RGBA 25500 0.1, right? And we'll do the blue one here as well. So red, green, blue. Something like that. All right. So now we have our little... The navbar currently is taking the full width, right? Prior I was saying I would want to have a page constraining the vertical size in one place. The issue is something like these bars, but I think you can handle them elsewhere. And I've done this in the past. I've been doing this for a long time. And I've definitely done this sort of thing in the past. You could do it with background colors, single pixel, you know, overlays, patterns, all sorts of things. But, oops, what did we look at before? Before we were looking at, yeah. So we said, okay, so this has a max width of, is that 120? Actually, it's on here. This is just full size, but 0 height, which again doesn't make a lot of sense. In fact, why is this not? Where is the height constraint on this thing? Is because this is not a float; it's a flex. Like, why is that out of flow and not creating a height here? Like, what makes this navbar, which doesn't seem to have any styles associated with it, which is super strange. Why does this not have a height? That's kind of curious. So, computed height is 0. Why? You know, this is 60. It's display flex. Open flexbox editor. Oh, okay. Height, max width, padding. Like what? Oh, position fixed. Oh, is that because it doesn't scroll? Oh yeah. Oh, personally, not a big fan of that. Especially since we're still animating it. So the top minus 60. Okay. Is this really just for the transition? Like, like, you could do that in a different way. Because if you're scrolling down, first of all, if you're scrolling less than... Oh, because... When does it... Okay. This styles rollback. I suspect this is something, some tool we run. So I'm gonna quickly look at that, considering that, you know, I'm not supposed to show the code, which is fine. I'll respect that. But if it's a Next.js generic thing, so it's basically it's literally a scroll event listener. Okay. I don't want to say you can do it without it. I'm not a big fan of using JavaScript for something like that. Can you? CSS only animate based on scroll position. Because I'm sure there's websites that scroll like that. And because, for example, if you can't do it at a certain point automatically, you could have an invisible element that's like 144 pixels that doesn't overload, you know, and then say, okay. So, key concept, scroll timeline. This timeline progresses, user scrolls. So there is timeline view, links, animation, progress to element visibility, optional customized on the animation. So I kind of like this. I'm going to look into this just because I want to learn about this. This is kind of interesting. So if I understand this right, let's say how I'm going to do this. So transform opacity. No. So we're going to do background red and then background blue. Frames appear, animate element. So if we say .nav here, now it's blue, and if I say page height is 200%, should get a scroll bar. And then if I scroll, because if it scrolls off screen, we don't see this. I'm actually going to do something a bit crazy. We're going to make a very large outline. We're not going to inset it. We're going to make like a 100 pixel outline. We're going to make it magenta so we can see it clearly. We're going to do opacity 0 and then to opacity 1. So if it scrolls off, from height 60px to height 600px. Does that change? Look. Linear easing works well with scroll. Links animation progress to element visibility. Optional customize when the animation starts and ends in the viewport. Animation range entry cover. U. Am I getting something else wrong here? Scroll nearest inline. Scroll different. You can define a scroll and controls animation either by naming animation or with the scroll function. Scroll. Animation timeline scroll. The scroll element that will provide the scroll progress timeline. Valid nearest. The nearest answers to the current element that has scroll bars on either axis. This is the default value. Root element of the document itself. The current element itself. So animation timeline. If I do scroll root. Now what I don't know is how that relates. Scroll sales can be used There's a single value within a comma-separated animation timeline property to specify a scroll progress timeline for a keyframes animation. It defines the scrollable element scroll and scroll bar axis that will provide the animation timeline. By default, scroll references the block axis of the nearest ancestor scroll container. Scroll axis, blah, blah. No, because root isn't getting scrolled. I'm just realizing it's page that's getting scrolled. Alright, I need to see the effect of this. Customize when the animation starts, ends in the viewport. What is getting scrolled actually? Scroll. Do we have an example? Container. Animation. So I'm guessing it's rotates. Okay. So what is getting scrolled? Square. So the stretch is just what makes the container get... Can I not resize this? Oh my god, that's annoying. Container height 300 pixels, overflow Y, scroll, position relative. Yada yada. Supports... Add layer, no support. Layer, add supports not. What? Animation. Oh my god. Modern CSS. I missed out a couple of decades in between here. CSS 3 is like where my learning ended, I think. So, Ubros does not. Okay. So we don't even care about that. Rotate from 2. Transform rotate. Animation direction alternate. Rotation would actually be potentially useful. So if I do this and then 180. Okay. If I do it 45. Okay, so it's not doing anything right now. Why not? Is it because we don't have position absolute? Do we have anything here? I say transform, rotate 50 degrees. Okay, what is it not liking here? Expected. Okay. Rotate is good because it doesn't depend on... Ah, here we go. All right. Okay, so was it just me doing syntax errors? Erroronies? If I make this only 120... Okay. And if we start like from 5 and get rid of that... Okay, so that works. So that works. We don't really want it to be exactly tied to scrolling. We want to trigger it through scrolling. But maybe that's something we can figure out. Okay. Now, if I get rid of position absolute, because right now all we're seeing here is the dashed outline. Yeah. So the idea is, can I have it scroll off screen at a certain height, right? So the idea is animation timeline scroll. I want to look in. We looked in something here because we were talking about the view thing, the view function rather than the scroll function, right? Here right now we're looking at the scroll function. And I think the view function might be useful. So where's the view function? View. So the view function is used to demonstrate to create an anonymous view progress timeline based on what an element comes into view based on its nearest scroll container. You can adjust the tracking axis. So the question is, can we use it when something gets out of view, right? So for example, if we now have, so in the original code, it was at 144, I believe. So if I say we have a scroll trigger here, and we can put it inside the nav bar, maybe. Right, so we can do something like scroll trigger. And we'll put it in here, and I'll say dot scroll trigger. We'll say background ground red. We'll say height 144 pixels, width 10 pixels, and position absolute, just to get it out of the scroll, out of the whatever, right? And then we want to, how do we, is used with a property to create an anonymous view progress timeline based on when an element comes into view based on its near scroll container. You can adjust the tracking axis, view, auto, view. Oh, maybe we can view, formal syntax, view axis, view timeline, inset, length percentage. Maybe we don't need to do this. Maybe we can do the 144 pixel. So if I do, we go back to that. And we'll do view. We need to be able to scroll further. Like that. If I do it the other way around. So now it's this, and then out of view. View. What does it do exactly? If the user to create an anonymous view progress timeline based on when an element comes into view inside its nearest scroll container. So, okay, I'm gonna need an example here. So if we play this, since it starts at 50. Can I? Alright. So, top, align items, bottom. Animation. Forget that. View, block, 5010. Now, this is on animation, and the animation element is subject, animation, subject container, subject animation. Okay, so it's the element itself, which is nice. View, block, 50%, 10% grow. Animation grow. So if I say view block, and we'll go 10%, 90%. And it should still... can we transform rotate with that? Because that would give us something tangible. If I do this... doesn't... 199%? Okay. So if I say 10px, I say 10px. And if I start from 0 and I go to 90 as our let's get rid of the height for now. We'll start at 0. Apparently we're not starting at 0. And then we get to 90 very quickly. So if we start from 0 and we go to 10 or to 100 pixels. So insets start at 50%. So we want to start at 0. Yes, we want to start at 0. Inset end. But it's okay. I'm not sure if that's enough. I'm not sure if that's exactly what we want. Block inline X. Inset. By default, the timeline is at 0%. The from keyframe in the when the subject is first visible at one edge of the scroller. And 10 when the key subject's outer border edge reaches the opposite edge of the scroller. You can control these points. Immersion lasts as long as the element is in the... If we go to like a huge number here, what does that do? It makes it not do much, but probably because it scales it up. So it just rotates so slowly That's weird. And if I bring this to 50 pixels, it shouldn't it start at 0 and then get to 90? It's so weird. Like here, it seems it's already at 10. If I do it the other way around, minus 50. Okay, if I go to minus 500. It looks like we're already at the 2 point. Yeah, okay. That's 500. If I start at 500? Okay, if I start at 50? That's so weird. If I start at 350. Maybe because the rotation changes the height of it. It's kind of... maybe that's a problem. I'm also thinking, could I push everything down and have it work easier to understand? So at 500, it worked, right? No, at 500 didn't do nothing. At 50, it did something. At 100, probably because 50 is less than 60 pixels, right? This is confusing. Okay, if we manipulate this side of it. 90%. Oops. What did I just do? 90%. Let's see. I still don't fully understand what these numbers mean. Like, the problem is this is continuous, right? And we don't want that. We want it to start at a sudden point. Grow. Animation timeline block 50, 10%. Oh, incent from the end. So we want this to be 0, 0 if we want it to be for the whole height. Okay. It's not start and stop relative to the top. The rotation is a little annoying. What if I do this? And if we make the height higher, just so we have more visibility on it. If I do this. Okay. If I do 100 px. That doesn't do anything. If I do 100 pixels from the other side. Nothing. If I do 1000 pixels from the other side. It fades in as we scroll up. If I make this really... Ah, no, then it's the thing. I'm trying to figure out if I can... How would I want it? So if I make this 55, for example, it'll overlap, right? Let's do something smart here for a second. I know. Let's try. So these two top bottom are these percentages, right? So if I do a dot root dash dash top 50% and dash dash plot 10%, and then I'll take these variables. Sorry. Yes, these variables, right? I should be able to just say var top. Start var top. Uh, 50%. What? dash dash top. Oops. Shouldn't be like this. Okay, now I'm doubly confused. Do I no longer know how CSS variables work? Height. Dash dash top is not defined. Oh, because it's dot root instead of just... wait, is it colon root? There we go. Never mind, never mind. So this would be top. And then this would be dash dash bot. Now I should be able to manipulate these two numbers here. So for example, if we go to 20, it'll look like this. If we go to 0, it'll do like this. And if we do our subject stretcher, where is it? The stretcher. Content subject. What is it called? If I can just say div content. If I say height 3000 px, right? Okay. The percentages are gibberish now. But if I can set these bottom to, let's say, 2000 px, which, okay, doesn't seem to align. Okay, goes like that. So it goes between, yeah, the top part, it doesn't seem to care. Like, it doesn't care about the top border. Excuse me. It seems to care only about the bottom border? If I make the top border, let's say 5%. Oh, okay, no, wait, because okay, it's from when it's outside the bottom to outside the top. So, if I want it to be different, so if I make this 10% here, is that 10% relative to this? Yeah, yes. So if I want it to be relative to this, we need to subtract that. So I need to say calc 10% minus 300. No, we need to do that over here. If I say calc this minus var height, and then we'll have a dash dash height of 300 px, and we'll move this up here, and then we'll have var height. So now the bottom should be when it hits all the way down to the bottom. Wait, what? Okay, let's move the bottom up. So if I make this 60. What? It flips. All right, that's fine. And if I do the top as well, so if I say calc var bottom minus var height, I feel like I might have just accidentally swapped these. Top minus height. No, top plus height. That's plus height on both sides because it's positive from the far edge, right? Except it's not working. So if I go back to the version without the height, like this version, right? Top to bottom. Do I need to comment this out? What did I mess up here? Wait. Subject container is width. No, that's wrong. We didn't want to change width. We want to change the height. Subject animation. Is that subject animation linear? Oh no, it's based on width. I'll just mislabel things here. Wait a second. Wait, what? No. We still need the height of the damn thing. I'm just realizing we do need the height. It's just not used there. Where's the height used? Content. Subject container width. What's the height of it? Subject container. Where gets its height from something. Maybe it's this. Here we go. Height 200. So we want this to be 200. No. God damn it. We want this to be 200. And I guess it has to go to the top. I'm not sure if it does, but it probably should. And then this would be var dash dash height. Right. And now, if I bring this back to like 40, and maybe this to 40, and now I add the height. We'll go back to this one. And maybe we'll just do one of them first. So we'll move that one here. All right, I'll comment this one out just in case. And then we'll just do only the top one first. Right, now... Yeah, so now the animation is finished when we touch it, rather than when we leave it completely, which is what I wanted. So bottom is a positive value, so it should be the same for top and bottom. We should have to add the number, which is what I'm doing here. Top and bottom might just not be extreme enough to illustrate the point relative to the height of the item, right? So, nope. %. What? Calc? Can I just do this for a sec here? Oh, are we just missing this? Yeah. Okay, so now it's happening. It's finished when we're touching this, and it starts when we're touching this. So now the idea is, okay, can we do this at a 144 pixel from the top? So, so if we go at 144 px, right? So the idea is we scroll, nothing happens. Then from this moment onwards, yeah, we're gonna move this subject container position absolute, then top 0. Right, now it won't scroll. Oh, it'll still scroll. Okay. And then the top, this will actually be 0. Actually, let's bring it down. Maybe it's something we can actually do now. So instead of top 0, we're going to make it 200, and we're going to make this 200. Okay. And we basically want to go from here to here. So we want to go... We don't want to do this. Because we want to look 144 from the bottom. So we don't actually want this. This has got to be 0. And then the top is gonna be the bottom, sorry, is gonna be calc 100% minus 144px. No, minus var. Can we do that? Minus. We're just gonna calculate the top and the bottom outside for a sec here. So at 0, we want it to be like this. And then from here to here, we want it to do that. So imagine this is the top of it, and then it'll do this. We're so close. We're so close. So 100% minus var height minus var top, which isn't 144. So we'll start from here and we'll get to full here. Except this isn't full. Minus var top. Taking 100%, so we're starting from the top of it, and then we'll go down by the height of it, or by this top part, and then by the height of it, and we end up here. But that should be our 100%, except it's not, because it's waiting for this edge to go here. So we actually need to add this again. So actually we do 2 times height. And now it goes from here to here. The reverse. Maybe 0, because we're adding height once and we're subtracting height. So we want to go from here to here. So starting here, I want to do that. Except we want to push it down. So we want, for this duration... gosh, my brain. For this duration, we want it to be fixed, and then we want it to start moving. So in the animation, scale 0, scale 1. So the scale is just a representation at the moment. So we want the animation to not start here. We want it to start... right. We want... If I put the box at 0, then this happens. If we start the animation from 0, and then go 200px. Sorry, calc 100% minus 200px. Sorry. We're gonna go back to this, and we're gonna manipulate the variables because those are our indicators. So our top is gonna be 0. And our bottom is 100% minus 200px. Right. So At this stage, no, -0. So we start at full and we'll do this. All right. Except now we want to wait till 244. So minus var top -0. So we want nothing to add. It's the reverse. So we actually want this to be negative. Then here we want nothing, and then we want some stuff to happen. Let's move this back to here, just so we have something to work with when it scrolls. So we want it to scroll for a while, and then eventually we want it to start. We want scroll, 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 and then at some arbitrary point we want the animation to start. So it's not -255. We're gonna add the 200 px, and we're gonna do it the other way around for reasons. We're gonna do that. So it starts when we hit a certain point, which is 144 in principle, I guess. And we want to finish when we reach some other point, right? So we want to finish. Wait, it is at 200. Let's do it at 100. Yeah, so that's about halfway. And that's when we want to start moving it. So we want it to not move until we get there. So we need two animations, right? We want it to... so we want an animation that starts... All right, I'm gonna move this to 400. Right. I'm gonna change these to indicate that the line of the indication space is on the other side, right? So we have our height. So we want our indicators, which are these, be calc var plus var height, right? We'll do the same thing with the bottom. And it's gonna be, height is positive, so we want to add it. And we're gonna subtract it. And then if we do top, we want to do top at 100. Just for now. And the bottom. So... And the bottom at 100% minus var top. No. 100%. 100 pixels, 100%. All right. So it won't move because it doesn't have space. So if we're saying minus 100 pixels, we should have a short animation. No. Gosh. I'm trying to make the indicators indicate what I want to happen. We go back to 0 here. Wait, what did I animate? From top to bottom. And the animation is 0 to 1 scale. Minus 300 pixels. I guess it needs to be taller than the thing. 0. Ah, why is my nose itching all the time? This is terrible. I just want to get in there with a steel brush and scratch it. Sec. Why is this not working the way I think? This is just the visual indicator. We're going from top to bottom. Top is, my god, nose, stop it. 100 minus 300 pixels. Top 100 pixels minus 600 pixels. I do this. Is it? What am I getting wrong here? If I say right bar top, I feel like I'm barking up the wrong tree because this wasn't what it's about. But I feel like I need to figure these things out, and I think this is a good time to learn this stuff. Why is this not doing the thing? And why is this saying, I mean, the number 50% there is wrong, but that's not 100 pixels either. If I just say calc 100 pixels, if I say plus 0 pixels, if I say plus 0, oh, I mess up the units. Is that it? Oh my god, I messed up the units. That's all I did. Jeesh. Jeesh Louise. Alright. So now, this should show me when it actually touches. Why can't I scroll further? If I go 6,000, can I scroll further then? I can't scroll up further. Okay, so the bottom just needs to be higher. So if I do this... Look. So, 300 pixels. That's not actually what's happening here. Pixels. That doesn't look like 300 pixels. Shouldn't be enough for the whole thing, right? So it's like 300 plus the 200 or something. Which is, I guess, all right. So I would just say minus var height. I guess that's the point. That's the term I'd removed. So, I go to 100% here. Yeah, so that's not it. Plus. And then I'll say minus 500 px. Minus 200 px. Now this thing is exactly 200. So if I do this, and if I do here as well, so if I do bar height plus 100. So var height is 200 pixels plus 100. So nothing will happen because there's just no space. If I give it some space, it animates from there to there. Okay, so we can start animating here and then stop animating here. So the idea is that when it's not, so we have two animations. One is the top part and one is the bottom part, right? So for example, we could say, instead of transform, right, we could say top 100 px and then top 100 px. So while that animation is running, can I rerun it? No? 2 top 100 px. Now that thing that we're animating isn't position absolute. If I do this, top 0. One second. The animation element itself is inside the container. The container is there. This is here. Oh, okay. So it's already at 100. Okay. Oh, but it's 100 relative to the container. So we might want to get rid of the container because it's kind of just messed up things. So container. So this stuff should all become go onto the animation thing. So position absolute. So top 400. Okay. And now the animation doesn't apply anymore? Top 400 pixels. Oh, because they're the same value. No. Is it because of the position absolute? Wait. Take that and put it back in here. What? I say position fixed. No. Animation. The problem is you can't scroll it and have it be a thing at the same time. So let's undo that. We might have to separate the element that's getting scrolled from the element that's getting transformed, basically. Yeah, so we have this. Could we have another element? No, I don't think we can animate something other than the thing we're checking. Ooh. Because we can't have it be viewed and animated at the same time, right? CSS function scroll target other element. Can we target a different element? Can scrolling onto an element? No. A scroll animation target another element. There's another container using link animation. Okay, so there's a theoretical way. But for now, I feel like I'm barking up the wrong tree. So let us not worry about that for now. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the scroll trigger. Let us get rid of this completely. I thought it would be a quick sidetrack. It was a ginormous sidetrack. It was not quick at all. Okay. So we wanted to have a fixed size for the whole thing. Because the other thing I wanted to check was that other things that are also limited, like this, are they limited separately? So, for example, this is full width, while this has probably a media thing or a max width. It has a max width. So I want to keep the page as our root. So we're gonna do page maybe we don't want the page as the root. Maybe we'll have a root as the root. So we'll call this page and make this a root. Just so I don't name things worse than they're already getting named. So then this becomes root right? And then we'll have a page, right? And we'll probably make it a bit smaller. So we'll say page, max width, you know, 720px. And we'll give it something. Something. Green, maybe. Blue, not green. Make this 8 pixels. Right, that's our page. We're still gonna make this height 100%. Make the root 100%. We'll probably put the display flex inside page for now. Right? So we have the green here. We'll probably want to do margin 0 auto. Although we could just flex it as well. Why is it like that? Did I close the page in the wrong spot? I don't think so. So, this outline is our root. This outline is the page, and the nav bar acts as if it's not inside the page because it's based on viewport units, which we don't actually want. So it's just going to be 100% of its parent, right? Yeah, and then we have our 3% margins, which... do we really want that? I don't know. So we can go by viewport units now. Which... Ooh, does it make sense? Yeah, these margins should be growing. So I'm thinking that as this grows, this orange part gets smaller? Or the margins just don't count because they're basically because of the box model, I guess. All right, it's fine like that. I'm gonna just grab these styles a little bit just to make it a little bit more. So we'll just want to do border radius, border radius. It's 0, 0, 10 px, 10 px, and then we have a bunch of z index stuff. Okay, margin left. Okay, that's just to keep it centered. We don't actually need to worry about it. We have a box shadow. Box shadow. Right. All right. Now we gotta get rid of some of this stuff just because it's getting a bit messy. Right? Do the sizing stuff under here. Okay, and we probably want that. Okay. Yeah. I want to grab these images. So let's just see if we can just hotlink it. Forgive me if that's not desirable. We're gonna grab that in there. How did we do it here? It's an image. So we could just do it as a background image. Actually, I want to look at it from this perspective. We're interested about the frame with the number and all that. So we have a check mark with the puzzle number check mark thing. Okay, so that's just an image. So if I'll do img src yada yada. And it'll look like that. So we want to make sure it's the image sizes according to, we kind of want to do this. All right. So we want to do puzzle image width 100%, and an aspect ratio 1/1. Okay. We want this, the digit, to be floating. And I like, where are the digits? Here. So position absolute. Okay, so the digit needs to be position absolute. We might have to add a position relative somewhere. All right. We probably need to do that on the image as well. If I do position relative. Okay. And then we have the border on the puzzle itself is rounded, I believe. Yeah. Border radius 4px. Right. Now the question is, if I add this into these other ones, will it just have the same effect? Will it all just work? That's my hope. Okay, so that looks good. We have 2, 3, 14, 15. 16. Let's do one more to get to the one. Just so I have different size of numbers here. Okay. Okay. All right. So then we potentially have other information about which puzzle and so on. Hey guys. So I'm not sure. Yeah, let's have a quick look at that one. So I'm gonna have to manipulate something in the code to make it think we're not currently in the past the end of the season. So I'm probably just gonna find where the date is being used, and I'm just gonna do that quickly here on the other screen. I'm gonna find where the date is being used, and then just manipulate the date. Just add something, right? So this is the dailies landing page, which is here. So we have a page. We have a puzzle. No, this is just gotta be. Oh, is that the today? I think that might be under today. Date. So add slot days. Start date clone. Wait, what? Is there a slash today? Surely not. It might be faster here. It doesn't have to do. Oh, there is. Ooh. Okay, so that gets you the season finale. Okay, so that's not broken, but it's not the page we're looking for. So it's not the today page. It's this one then. Text section. Promo intro, preview pass, start screen, that's the one. Okay, so start screen is looking, oh, okay, so it doesn't get the date fed in, it pulls it from the data itself, which is something we want to change. It shouldn't be doing that. It should get passed into the component. This is a Next.js project. If end of season is solved, end of season, so false, and if I do that and then refresh this, okay, so that's the view of when we're during a season, and this is basically what our primary recommendation screen should be showing us. Why is, oh, This is supposed to be full screen. So our primary recommendation screen. So we're gonna move that over here. Is this. Catch up. Is that new text? I'm just looking where this catch up text is from. We have season 1, puzzle 1. If not end of season, we do this. Is today's puzzle catch up? Else. So it just throws the catch up in there if it is not today's puzzle. Okay. If I say is today's puzzle is true or, so it should come through as yes, it is today's puzzle. Okay, so that just says play today's puzzle. So, but I can click on the puzzle itself. But we do want the explicit button. I get that. Okay. All right. So the algorithm I was thinking about could throw up all sorts of puzzles. So it could be a catch-up puzzle, it could be a today puzzle, it could be a next puzzle, it could be... I mean, I guess catch-up or today is really the two items, because whenever you're not playing today's puzzles, quote-unquote... I mean, technically it's a catch-up, but it could also be a replay kind of thing. Alright, so we definitely want to have space for another puzzle here, which means the puzzle thing itself cannot be square. Oops. Am I mixing these up? Yes, I think. Oh, because what the heck did I do to here? That's where we're working. This is that. This should be here. Okay. So the point I'm trying to get to is we need to be able to have... Okay, well, it could be on the outside of the puzzle. So the puzzle itself would always be square. This doesn't have the number on it. Why not? It should have the number on it. Maybe even more than number. Maybe the season as well. What does it look... Can we put more stuff in here? If I say S1, P2, for example. Huh. If we just call it 1-2. Because we could have puzzles shown from different seasons. And for example, this, which season this is, it might not be perfectly clear. But we can just put arbitrary text in there, so that's not actually that huge of a deal. So under primary, can I just put some text here now? Play the today's puzzle. Let's grab some play today's puzzles. So we have a date. We probably want to have these formatted, right? Some way we can say, you know, let's just say December 14, 2025. And then we'll have a, you know, season 1. Is that, do we have a comma here? No, puzzle 39. All right. So we have something like this, let's say. And now we need this thing to actually, so we call this maybe recommendation, give this a secondary class. Maybe we'll do it on the inside. I'm just thinking we want to have multiple of these, and the recommendation itself contains the puzzle. So if we do something like this, right, and then we'll have a dot recommendation, and the puzzle is actually inside the recommendation. We kind of do this, and then the recommendation is display flex background red. Why is this down here all buggered up suddenly? Because these aren't inside recommendations? No. Display flex direction column. Okay. Why are all these buggered up suddenly? Why are you buggered up? Don't be buggered up. puzzle, digit, image. Oh, because they're not inside recommendations. Ah. So maybe that doesn't need to be nested like that. I'm also not super familiar with SCSS, so I don't exactly understand the resting just yet. We probably want to clean up this paragraph stuff. We'll say padding 0. Is that padding or is it margin? Margin 0. Text align center. All right, and then we'll grab some text styles out of there. Oh my gosh. Wait. Family, font family, quicksand. So the quicksand font. So the digit font, where did we set that up? Prompt. So if I go here and I say quicksand. Ah, Jeesh. Quicksand. Didn't we pull that in here? Family. Google fonts quicksand. Can we just grab that? We probably just want regular. Okay. I don't want to waste too much time because I'll just use whatever we're already using. So probably this is enough. Like if I do this. Sure. That looks roughly right. Yeah, we want that over here. That looks lovely light. What is the color here? Just the plain color. Is that how it's defined? It's not. Okay. So, color 19. Get rid of the red. Now we still have the gray outline. Do we want a margin around that? So we have this. The border is on this thing, right? We have a border on this thing. Width 80. But then the picture is larger. Wait, what? 100, and this is 80. Oh yeah. So I had actually thought about it the other day about insetting the border without messing with the outer stuff. So can we do background color red? Like if I do this, it'll tell me where the picture is. Now can I overlay the picture onto the border or vice versa, inset the border? So if I say something like padding -10 px, for example. Because we could obviously have an independent element with the border. Can I just inset the border? Or offset? Border offset? We could use outline. We could maybe just use outline for this. So if instead of doing this and wherever I put the red, if we just, instead of doing this as the border, we can just copy this, make this an outline, and then we'll do an outline offset -10 px. Now here, I think it's 10%. 10% of what? Like if I make this 100. Margin. 1 rem. No. Border. This is width. If this is 100, then if this. Geez, I didn't want to click it. We have the image here. 331, and then the A tag at 304. Even though the width here is set to 100%. Oh, is it relative to this? No, not at all. So width. Max width. 300. So it's 304. So it's max width 300 plus the border of 2 pixels, which makes it 304. And then this is with 100%. But why does that bring it to 331? 100% of what? If I make this 80%, it's much smaller. 100% of what? Maybe relative to this? No. I'm not quite sure. And that's vexing. I don't like that sort of thing. All right. But by using outline here. Oh, can we do outline radius? Outline radius. Can we do rounded outlines? Outline. 15% pixel around. Add space between the border and outline. So border radius applies to outline? And in a rounded border, want to change out. I couldn't tame the hard square outline. So instead I used box shadow. I actually preferred the smooth look of the shadow, but the shadow can be hardened to simulate a rounded outline. So we can use a box shadow. No outline radius property. The property max outline follows border radius. The CS indicates that the outline should follow the shape of the border radius property. So it should be rounded, but it doesn't appear to be. If I add 10 pixels. And then I can get rid of the border. And then it'll look like that. Okay. So it'll be the offset plus the desired radius. And then we can get that and we can use outline. But now our digits are in the wrong spot. Where is... We want to look at this. So our digit needs to be... Is the digit aligned with the image? That is a possibility. Roughly. So we kind of just want to move the digits back out. CQW. Oh, yeah, we don't want to do 10. We don't want to do CQWs. Ooh, minus 3 CQW. Minus 1 CQW. Minus 0.1. Background red. Wait. The outline. Geez. Border 1px solid black. Does the background only fill the outline? That's weird. All right, this looks weird to me. Wait, background, green. No, wait, we want the picture to be bigger than the, wait. Opacity 0.5. Outline offset. If I get rid of the outline offset here. What? Outline offset minus 10 px. If I go back to this. Okay, there's our outline. What the heck? One CQW. What was the CQW and CSS unit? CQW. Container query. CSS container query. CQW. CQW. 1% of a container's width. So it's a percentage of the container. So that's 1%. We know the container is 300. So 10 would be 0.3. What? Why is the outline minus 0.5? This doesn't look right. Sorry. Where is... Oh, which container, though? Yeah, you see, as I zoom, it gets bigger. It doesn't scale with the container. Because we are in the container. Shoot. What if I put the outline on the image? Blue. If I do this. And then I do this. Put that on here. Outline offset. If I get rid of the outline here. If I get rid of this and this. Blue. Okay. If I go border radius 14. So, why is our outline offset not offsetting? That works. If I make it 10C container query width minus 10 container query width. Okay. Minus 0.5 minus 1 minus, wait. 10 should be 30. Oh, 3. 3%. Okay. Okay. And then border radius should be calc 3 CQW plus 4px. 3 CQW plus 4px. Okay. And the outline shouldn't be solid blue. It should be solid AAA. I really need to call about getting my scooter towed. It needs to go to the mechanic. And then we want to get rid of that. We want to get rid of that and rid of that. And now the outline is on the image, which for some reason is on top of the digit. Because the image comes first. So if we put the digit underneath, it'll do that. And then we want to do the same thing here, I presume. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. No. It needs to go there. Okay. Hey, look at that. Ah, but now the outline is over the image, which I'm guessing is not what we want. Shoot. CSS outline on image much underneath content. I think we're gonna have to add an element for that. Or I was correct. Container units. If I put the outline back here, and then we'll say outline offset that, because we use 0.3 or whatever. It goes to the frickin' parent. All right. It's not worth it. We're gonna add we want to add another layer, right? Ah, wait, we did. Basically what I want is I want to have a thing that determines the width or the size of it, and then everything else follows that. But since the wait, container, I don't care about container. I can just use my own. I can just say 3%. Wait. One sec. I do this. Outline offset minus 3%. Minus 30%. Blue. Is this, am I looking? Yes. Why is the offset not working? Outline offset in percentages. CSS outline offset percentage does not work. Elektrobear does not accept percentage value. It only accepts values in length units such as PXEM or REM. Accept unit from can define this place an element in a border in its outline using various length units. Viewports are also not a first part of the spec for outline offset. For percentage-based offset, since you cannot use percentage directly with outline offset, consider these alternatives. Use back shadow can simulate an outline effect and offers more control, including use inset shadows. Okay, I don't want to go box shadow, but it might be the solution. Welcome to Advanced CSS. So we can do a box shadow. This is an outline. You can go percentage here for positioning. 4 pixels. I'll make this 40. 10. Can I do CSS rounded corner box shadow? I don't think that'll work. Box with round corners, apply the border radius. Can we just do it with border radius? Maybe? Box shadow, CSS, box shadow, inset. Your box shadow is to create an inner shadow with an element border rather than default outer shadow. Makes the element look recessed or sunken. If I do inset here, spread radius 10, blur radius 0, spread radius 10, offset minus 10 px. Use box shadow to simulate inset outline. Inset 0002. 2 pixel red inset outline to an element. Inset outline, simulate outline, inset by 10 px. Let's see, I can do this on screen. Maybe simulate 2 px outline, inset by 10 pixels. Inset. We need a background color. Do we want to just add another element? Maybe we can do an after. If I do an after, I'll see display block content, empty string, background red or green, ABC. If I do this, right, and if I say display block, top 0, width 100%, if I say block, if I say fix even, why is our after here skewed like our text? That's a little strange. Why is the after treated like the text style? It doesn't have the class. Why is it inside the digit? What? That's a weird... Why is it going inside of the digit? What? SCSS syntax for after pseudo class. See, it's good that I'm doing this. I'm learning things here. These are things that I need to figure out and that I didn't prior know. Or at least didn't know them well. Ah, okay. So I thought there was some quirk on this syntax. Not sure why that quirk is there. Okay. Display fixed. If I say block width height. Do I need this? Not really. Now, can I do a outline like this? And can I do outline offset minus free container query container TQW? Ah. And can I now calc this as well? Uh-huh. Now I get rid of the green and the content. And we get rid of the... get rid of that. Okay. It's under the image. It's inside by 3, whatever. It's a fixed 2-pixel thickness. I think it works for the little guys as well, which is kind of what I was concerned about. Am I in some sort of different zoom level? No. Okay, if I get rid of the red here. Seems a little redundant to have all this stuff, but here we are. And then this should be AAA. Nope, AAA. Aha. Okay. And now, I think we don't even need the border here either. Type inline size. I think we need that for the CQWs to work. Now, let me see if we can get that hover. Can we have a hover? Oh, not in mobile view. Yeah, yeah. Let me see if the hover effect is probably not hard to do. Is it just on the image? If I say hover? Hover? No. We do hover here. So when we're on hover, and the image is here, so the image, I'm guessing, gets transformed. And it gets slightly rotated. All right. So can I do... How is that done? I'm actually going to look at the code there because... hover. Yeah, 1 second. We gotta find this. I'm just looking for that in the Think Game site code. Find 0.2 degrees. It doesn't find that. It might be defined with different because it's 0.2. Okay. Okay, so it's gonna be ampersand colon hover and then image and then this. Now the question is, if I do this in front of that, is it just gonna get overridden? Does it have to be after the image itself? I'm curious. So if I do this, and then we'll probably need to do some sort of transform animation. So that'll be here. Oh, it's negatively rotated. So, is that the effect that we're looking for? I think so. But is it really unrotated? This looks weird to me that it's rotated negative 2 degrees by default. We also have filter grayscale 80. I want to try out. Okay, well, we'll need that for later. Now, what I haven't done here is the kind of mobile layout. And we obviously need to do some spacing here. Wait a second. Why is the text under the picture? What's going on here? Puzzle. Why is the picture outside the puzzle? Is the puzzle... Oh, they didn't bother with all the shenanigans that I'm bothering with. They didn't offset or inset or anything like that with the outline. They just transformed the picture after the fact. I'm not sure if I like that, because it means the picture isn't the size that we're setting. I think I prefer the element to be the size that we want. Like, I prefer this element to include everything that's in it. And then have the image... let's see, if we get rid of all these transforms, right? So now the image should be exactly inside our box, but the text is outside the box, which we don't actually want. In fact, now we have to move the text down again, right? Because we've moved the text earlier. 1 second. All right, let's do this cleanly. So if I say background red, that's the box, and ideally everything is inside that box. So I don't want the text to be kind of sitting out of here like that. But I do want the text to be top aligned. So CSS vertical align text upper edge. I don't want any spacing above. So if I do vertical line top, so if I do here vertical align top, so it doesn't work. And is that because the line height is too tall? Do we have line height? Line height. Normal. CSS, how can I get text to perfectly align with a top edge without space? Without any space above. I have a feeling that space comes from somewhere else. I have a weird feeling that that spacing is from a different source. Because that's a lot of spacing, right? It says line height is normal. What is the height of this thing? Height. Do we have a height that's defined? Font size, 20 CQWs. Display in position, text line left, vertical line top, text align left. We have a position absolute. We have the skew transform. Is that causing something? Why is this line height so tall? Where is this coming from? I don't think we have anything defined elsewhere, right? I'm not seeing anything here. Get the chat up in case you guys are contributing and I'm not realizing. This is very strange. This doesn't seem right. Is it just the font? If I get rid of the font styling, I mean, it doesn't exactly jump to the upper edge. CSS, how to get rid of padding at top of text. Line height 1 though. Line height, setting a small line height. Reduce expression. If I say line height, maybe normal is bigger than 1. No, we still have spacing there. On the mer or after trim star text box trim. Trims above the capital line. Okay, let's try these. No, that doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything at all. Smart chapter. Remove white space above and below large text. I mean, I can manually adjust it, but I wouldn't want that. I mean, I can just make line height 0.75 rem, I guess. I do 0.5. Why is it not adjusting to that? Ah, because it's vertical align top. Oh. Why is it not in the middle of that line? If I make this 5 rem, it also doesn't bring it down? Line height 5 rem. What? Why? Okay. So 5 EM, vertical line middle. What? Still has this stupid thing in the... Let's do this before. Why is this inside the dot digit? Position... Root. Okay, the digit text is still not aligned. What is going? of trim start. Okay. Okay, so it doesn't know these things, and they're messing other things up, and they don't work. Typical AI. Typical AI recommendations. Okay, so now if I adjust line height to 0.75, the problem is, if I don't get it perfectly right, and it might be different for different fonts and all that stuff, it'll potentially cut it off, right? Yeah, like that. It'll look weird. If we do this, so the idea is, can I get it aligned so it's within the box, but then ultimately sticks out with the other stuff? Oh, even the text does the little... Even the text does the little jumpy jumps. Hover. I look for more hover styles. There are no other hover. Wait, what? So clearly we had set this one to hover. Yeah, so the puzzle number is clearly being modified by that. So if I look for skew W, we get this. So inside the hover, we have both the digit, the image and the digit. And this is done like that. And skew Y, 6 degrees, 5 degrees, 6 degrees, 5, 6, 5, 6, 3, 6, 5, 6, 3, scale 1, oh wait, okay. Okay. And the image does this. Now, the image goes from larger to smaller. No, it looks like it's bigger. So it goes from 1.1 to 1.15. So we want to go from scale 1 to scale 1.5, 05, something like that, right? Oh, I don't like... See how the text does like a two-step jump? Like goes whoop and then down. That happened here as well? I don't think so. I mean, there's some glitchiness. Why is it doing that? Now, to be fair, I had this margin top, which was actually dealing with the issue we had, I think. Okay, let's get rid of the red because it's very distracting. The red is on picture. On puzzle. Definitely does like a two-step thing. I'm wondering if there's something I need to fix in terms of like weird things that deal with animation reset and whatnot. Also, transition transform on the puzzle digit. Let's go in there. We have extra. Okay, so we have transition transform. Don't know why there's a Z index. Yeah, that makes it smoother. This stuff bothers me because that's exactly the sort of thing classes are for, but you don't want to apply class to everything. I want to apply class to class. I want to say everything with this class also has that class kind of thing, right? So all the animations can get handled in one place. I guess CSS variables can be used for that, but it also feels the wrong tool for the job. I'm entirely honest. All right, let's get rid of this. Now, okay, because we have that weird 720 width, right? So if we go at 1080px, which I also don't agree with, in fact, I guess that's why it looks... it's not 1080p, it's 1280p. If I do this, right? Now we should have this. I wonder if I can force it to go 2 lines. Like CSS force items to go 1x6, 2x3 or 3x2 in rows / calls. I think you can probably use grid CSS. Depending on width. I don't want to use media queries though. I mean, I can. Auto fit fluid. This approach allows items to automatically press the minimum width allowed for each item down to 3, 2, or 1 column without explicit media queries. Auto fit min-max. Column space and find space items. CSS force items to automatically fill columns and resizing. Auto fit min-max. Most effective modern CSS is a dynamic grid that uses the grid template columns property. The browser allows the browser to calculate the optimal number of size of columns based on the container's available width and specified minimum item width without needing media query. I mean, I've sparked up the grid train earlier and I didn't like it. If I say display grid, and then we'll do this. If I do this, right? Let's all ask good old ChatGPT about this. I want to place 6 squares using CSS/HTML. I want to place 6 squares in a container such that as I resize the width of the container will show 1x6 items, 1 row, 2x3 items, 2 rows, or 3x2 items, 3 rows, or 1x6 items in 6 rows, according to the rows. Boom. I want it to always fully fill rows. Not 5 items in row 1 and 1 item in row 2. And I don't want to specify any explicit sizes. Just use the children's dimensions automatically. All children are of equal size. Let's see. Maybe we have more luck on at the 200,000th try. And the number of comments writes 1, 2, 3. Because the children are equal size, this guarantees every row is full. So I'm guessing, yeah, media query. Data queries. Modern, nicer if it fits in UI panel. Same idea, but reacts to parent width, not the viewport. Yes. Container. Okay, so if I were to use this method, so that would look something like this, and then we'll have something like that container in, let's see. No, I don't want to. Min width. Well done. Alt. If I do this, okay, then I'll say 3, 5 RAM, 5 RAM. I don't know why it's dot wrap. Yeah, I told it to do SCSS and it just completely created a completely different algorithm. So it's just like that, huh? So no inner selector. Just like that. So I should be able to, like, do this. Nope. In with 300px. Give me something that I can work with, please. Nope. I do this and then this. This doesn't seem to work. I tried this, but it did not switch layouts. Yeah, it always gives me something, and then it doesn't work. It never admits to A, something not being possible, or B, it not knowing about it, or anything like that. Container type inline size. Okay. Wait, what? Here. Container size inline size. Display grid. Okay. Cool story, bro. Who is adjusting how these things are supposed to, Jesus Christ, how the LLMs respond? Your template cons, repeat to max content. Nope, doesn't work. Rup, rup, rup. Is it maybe still wider than 300 at this point? Output sizer, what are you talking about? I go here. Secondary is now, it's still wider than 348. So it should be the reverse. No, it's got to be the other way around. It's got to start from the larger and then get to the smaller. It doesn't work since the item never gets small enough to trigger the query. Yeah, I don't think that can work. Fit content trap. You put it there. You told me to put it there. Or no, this was from earlier. Okay. So display grid template columns. We'll start with high, get smaller and smaller. Justify content center, margin. Okay, it wants me to get rid of the margin. Secondary wrap. All right, all right. Can I do it with pseudo? With a pseudo thingamajigs. So secondary inline size. Is that, wait, if I do this, where does that go? Before or after? Content. A display block. Where does this go? Does it go around? Before? No, it goes inside. It doesn't go. So can I put this into page? I can do this here, maybe? I can get rid of the hey now. Hey now. So if I do this, alright, we're at 2. I think it's to 1. It goes the other way around. Min width. Max width. Max. Bonk. 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 So max width, we would want to have 3 times whatever the size of the thing is. The size of these things are 150. So 450. No, 6 times. 600 plus 300, 900. Plus, you know, the gaps and stuff. Yeah, so we gotta do calc 3 times 150px plus 1 rem. Three times. No. 6 times. Boom. Boom. Yeah. And then we can do this, and we'll do 3 times, and then this becomes 2. Bonk. And then we'll leave it there. I don't think we need to go smaller because we're kind of at half size relative to that. Or do we want it to... No, I like that. I like that. I like that. And it fits within our 1280 large size. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to go higher. We might make these bigger so they kind of fit. No, because like for our mobile... no, that doesn't work in CodePen. But for the mobile view, I think something like this makes sense, right? We need to do some padding between dot puzzle and so recommendation will have like dot puzzle margin bottom 1 rem. Right? Did I not get that right? Margin bottom. Guess we have to do this afterwards. Yeah. And then for the secondary recommendations, we'll probably want to have some sort of minor title. Maybe we can do the secondary puzzles. And then we can do the wrapping and all that on the secondary puzzles. And the secondary itself has like a little H2. H2, other puzzles you might. Puzzles you might like. Something like that. And then we'll change this to be not on secondary, but on secondary puzzles. And then dot secondary. We can actually do this, right? And then we can have a H2 in here. Text align center. Oh, I need to stop the stream. I'm running over the times. And let's have a quick steal of these kind of title styles. Do we have another font? God, let's let it not be. It says quicksand, maybe? But it gets overridden somewhere else. Font prompt. Okay, well, it's prompt. It's the prompty one. Prompt. Prompt. Yeah. So we probably want this here. And we'll probably want this to be text transform uppercase. And can I get a font size? No. Font size. It's not 2. It is 2. Font size 2 rem. Uppercase 700. And maybe not this style. Maybe something slightly smaller. It doesn't seem as bold as this. Yeah, maybe we don't want that. And maybe 1.6, something like this. Margin 0, row 1, rem 0. So then we have just a little bit of spacing underneath. And then we have padding around that. So we probably don't need this spacing. Yeah, I'd like to have this aligned with this, but that might be a little tricky. I almost want to make that text slightly gray. Like that. For some reason. That doesn't look that color at all. Oh, because it's okay. Is this one? No, no. There's something. It's too punchy. Oops. We will do this. Still too big, maybe. No, it's too small. Okay, I don't know that one. Anywho, we've got something going on here. We need... I need to look into now what kind of puzzles would come up with, what would come up in these recommendations, because we might have to label these because they might come up in a variety of different weird things, like they might be from different seasons and so on. Or we might want to limit ourselves to say, okay, well, let's find a season to recommend from, and then you know, so we have two algorithms. One, pick the season. Two, pick the puzzle, right? So maybe the recommendation should always be from the same season. But I'd like to be more flexible. I'd like to, in the future, to be able to say, hey, you know, you're in season 7. You've done the last 3 seasons very well. You probably skipped some puzzles in the earlier seasons when you didn't know as much about puzzling. You know, and then just throw them in there. Depending on which ones they haven't looked at in the longest, which ones are the most similar to puzzles they've played in the past, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah. And having kind of very simple HTML might also be beneficial. That's just me. That's just me. Did I remove the rotation? No. Oh, no. Okay. All right. I'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, I think this is a good start to kind of get my CSS foo up to date a little bit, to kind of look at this independently, how it would be if I built it from scratch. Now I'll actually have to dig in a little bit and look at how it is done in the current site. Maybe I'll just reuse how things are done. For example, here, these images are left aligned and then resized. That's a little weird. Here they're resized. Here they're max size. Okay, they have a max size. Ah, I'm not resizing them at all. But I have them smaller in the first place, which I personally kind of like. We could resize them to 1/3 or 1/6 the width of the thing, and then 1/3 the width of the thing, and all that. I mean, that's another option we could do. I guess I have to remember that people don't do this generally. They just have a static view, so it just needs to look good in the static view. Yeah. So what we could do is we could say, okay, in a certain range of sizes, we'll do 1/6. The width of them is the 1/6. In another kind of view, the width of them is 1/3, like in this range, and then here it's always half. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for hanging out, Keith. Appreciate you stopping by, as always. Glad to have you on board, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend and a good next week. Take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Even the hopefully many silent lurkers. I hope there's many of you. All right. Is my stream frozen? No, I just held that pose for a long time, but I was thinking. No, actually, the restream is frozen. All right. Better get going. Take care, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good one. Bye-bye.